Hello. It's been way too long. I've taken way too long of a break from making videos, and I just have felt compelled and inspired to make something and kind of get back into the flow, so to say, of the video thing. I've been super busy, as I'm sure many of you that still care about this channel and me have probably realized that Thought for Food is no longer a thing. Aaron and I decided to kind of close that door, close that chapter back in January, and kind of as a result, I took a little bit of a hiatus, took a little bit of a break to finish grad school, which I finished in May, finished my master's in applied nutrition. So really happy about that. Good to be done. And so now, as a result, I am wanting to kind of get back into the game and start my own thing, focusing on more on the sports nutrition side of things, with my specialties and background in plant-based nutrition, of course. And so back in, I guess it was probably May as well, I started my own podcast, a brand new podcast called In the Flow, which you should definitely check out if you are interested in all things nutrition for athletes, meditation, mindfulness, kind of, talking about the flow state as it relates to athletes. And that's kind of what inspired me to start that show and why it's called that. I've become fascinated with this kind of idea and concept of flow and the flow state, which I describe a lot in the first episode of the podcast. And just this idea that a huge reason why we train and love being endurance athletes or athletes in general is to experience that flow state of just where we are fully connected with the present moment and we sort of lose ourselves in that zone. And I think a huge part of that is connected to what we eat, how we fuel our bodies, and how we identify as athletes, our relationship to our sport and activity. And so I'm trying to create sort of a culture and really support other athletes that want to live in a really healthy and positive balance between what we eat, how we live, and how we move, and not just be so focused primarily solely on performance, about being outside, connecting with nature, but also being stewards for a greater purpose of ethical athletics and of environmental sustainability and mindfulness. And I also attended a 10-day silent meditation retreat, or Vipassana meditation, if you're familiar with that, last month in July. Took a month off of everything basically to go do this and spend some time in Idaho, and it really changed my outlook on the mind and how it's related to exercise and related to our health in general. And so these are all things that I'm talking about within the flow. And so I want to start kind of getting back to the nutrition education stuff that I'm so passionate about and I care so deeply about. And so that's sort of the purpose of In the Flow. I'm also offering and kind of getting started in kind of launching a nutrition coaching and consulting arm of this alongside the podcast, which will be, all the information for that is on intheflownutrition.com. But my primary goal and focus here is supporting endurance athletes primarily through nutrition education and support via coaching and consulting in that regard, because I think it's such an important topic. It's something that's so needed, because we invest so much time and energy and money into gear and training and traveling and stuff, but we often forget or neglect the literal fuel that fuels us, and so take a look at the podcast. You might get some interesting bits of information and education. I hope it really helps you out, and stay tuned for more videos and kind of stuff like that from me. And so gonna start small but kind of get back into the game, and so if you're watching this, I really appreciate you kind of coming back to what I have to say, what I'm doing after all this time, but it feels good. I'm excited to get back into it and start getting some more information out there, because I think there's still such a gap and still such a need for this kind of nutrition education and information for athletes. So stay tuned for more, and thanks a lot, and I will talk to you very soon.